Hey, welcome back to Stewman Rides. We're out here at Chuckwalla Raceway just after sunset, standing in between turns 2 and 3, and we're going to do another video. And this time we're going to talk about how to use the throttle on a motorcycle while you're going through a corner. So we're going to break it down for you, how you should be applying the throttle, when you should be applying the throttle, what kind of technique you want to use with the throttle when you're riding around the racetrack on a motorcycle. So we're going to do another riding skills video, and welcome back to Stewman Rides. All right, so again, welcome back to Stewman Rides. We're going to do a quick video, talk about how to use the throttle through a corner. We're out on the racetrack, and that's kind of what my channel's focused on. So we're going to talk about throttle technique. Some people call it throttle control, and how you want to use the throttle through a corner on a motorcycle. So using the throttle on a straightaway is easy, right? Pin it. Just keep the thing to the stop, go as fast as you can down the straightaways. When you get into the corner, how you use the throttle can be a little bit more tricky. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. All right, so let's break it down. Let's talk about how you want to use the throttle through a corner. So let's first talk about corner entry, right? So you're approaching a corner like this one behind me, turn 2 at Chuckwalla Valley Raceway. As you approach that corner, you're going to roll off the throttle, right? You're going to close it. So while you're on the brakes, the throttle's shut down. So as you roll into the corner and as you turn the motorcycle, we talked about if you're trail braking, whether or not trail braking, you're going to be releasing the brake when you turn the motorcycle, right? So obviously you don't want to be on the gas and on the brakes at the same time, so you don't want to come into the throttle until you're done with your brakes, which basically means you can't come into the throttle until you're done turning the motorcycle, right? So in the corner behind me, it's a pretty straightforward 90-degree corner. We got a little bit of a straightaway leading into it. Head straight into that corner behind me, and we're going to brake until we get to our turn point. We're going to turn the bike and release the brake at the same time, right? So it's a classic braking kind of corner. So the idea is with the throttle's shut as you're going into the corner. So when you're on the brakes, the throttle's closed, you're decelerating, you're heading into that corner. And then as you turn the motorcycle, you're going to release the brakes, right? So once you get the motorcycle turned, brakes are off. The moment the brakes come off, you want to go right back to the gas. There's no delay, right? You're never off the throttle and off the brakes coasting, right? So you're never coasting. The moment the brakes come off, you come right back into the gas, right? So you're not necessarily twisting the throttle really hard, but you're getting into positive throttle the moment the brakes are released, right? So there's no overlap, right? You're never on the brakes and on the gas at the same time, but the goal is the moment that brake lever is off and the brake pressure is released, you come right back into the throttle and turn it on. So what you do from there kind of depends on the corner, right? If you have, like the corner behind me, a pretty straightforward 90-degree corner, you're going to come into the throttle right away, and then you're going to roll into the throttle pretty quickly and pretty aggressively, right? You're not in that corner for a long time. It's a pretty short corner. Like I said, it's about a 90-degree corner, maybe a little more, a little less, but somewhere in that neighborhood. So as you go in, you get the bike turned quickly, you come right back into the gas and you start rolling into it aggressively. How aggressively? Well, it depends, right? What you're trying to do is find the limit of traction with the rear tire as quickly as you possibly can, right? So it's not like you're rolling into it slowly. You're trying to come into the throttle as fast as that rear tire will allow, right? So if you come into it too fast and you overwhelm the rear tire and the thing spins and slides and all that, then obviously that's a bit too much. What you're trying to do is get the bike just to the point, right to the limit of traction, just as soon as you can in that corner, right? So you crack on the throttle, you start to roll it on until you feel the tire just start to be right on that edge of traction. I like to call it getting the tire kind of churning. So it's not really sliding, but it's not 100% hooked up either, right? So you're trying to get that thing like right on the limit of traction, and you're trying to get that as soon as you possibly can in the corner. So the goal, if there was somebody behind you, what they would see is the moment you got that bike turn, all of a sudden a black line starts showing up behind the rear tire, right? So you're putting a darkie down the moment you get that bike turn and the moment you release the brake. Like, that's perfect. That's the goal in a perfect world. So that works really well for a corner like turn 2, where it's a little bit tighter. Like I said, it's about 90 degrees. Now, if we turn around and we look the other way here, behind me here we have turn 3. So turn 3 is a bit more open and more sweeping corner, right? You're in that corner for a longer period of time. You're also probably going to trail brake into the corner a little bit. So you're going to have the brake on a little bit longer as you enter that corner. So throttle application, it's a little bit different for a longer sweeping corner like this, but the same principles pretty much apply. So turn 3, we're entering that corner, we're braking, we're turning the bike a little bit slower, we're on the brakes a little bit longer on the way into the corner, but again, the moment we release that brake pressure, right back to the throttle. So we're not waiting for anything. The only thing we're waiting for is to let go of the brake. The moment that brake is let go, you're right back into the gas. I asked this question at some of my schools, like, when do you want to get back in the gas? And a lot of times people say, oh, just before the apex, or at the apex, or after the apex. And the answer to when you want to get back in the throttle is the moment that you let go of the brakes, right? So the moment the brakes are off, you're right back in the gas. You're not waiting for anything. The sooner you can get back into the throttle, the sooner you can start building speed. You can start to load the rear tire. And actually the rear tire being loaded will help the bike turn and help it finish the corner if your bike is set up correctly. So, corner behind me, the difference is this is a bit more sweeping, right? So on the entry to this corner, you're coming in, you're braking a little bit longer, you're turning the bike maybe a little bit slower. But again, once you get the bike turned and once you get the brakes off, it's right back into the throttle. Now, in this corner, because it's a bit longer, you can't necessarily feed the thing as fast as you could in turn 2, right? Turn 2, 90 degrees, you can get into the throttle real aggressively right away. Here, you're going to come into the throttle and try to get to that limit of traction, but once you reach that limit of traction, you're going to be at that throttle position, or maybe adding very, very slightly all the way through the remainder of the corner until you start to pick the bike up. So I got some video of these two corners in this direction. We're going to be coming through turn 3 into turn 2 behind me. So we got some video of that. You'll be able to see what my throttle hand's doing and get a good look at my throttle control, and we'll see how I do compared to how I described it here in the video. Okay, so here we are on the track. Let's see how I do. Take note of when I release the brake and how long it takes me to get back into the gas. So on the brake is off and right back into the throttle, right? No delay between the two. Another corner, brake a little bit, and then right back to the gas the second the brake lever is released. So that's turns 3 and 2 that we talked about in the video. Let's take a look at some of the other corners here. And I want you to notice the speed at which I roll on to the throttle through these corners. So corner we're in now, pretty long corner, the roll on was very slow. Corner coming up here, you'll notice it's a tighter corner and the roll on a bit more aggressive, right? So there's my roll on through the middle and on the exit. We're going to head into the bowl here in a second, so a very long corner. So we're going to brake a little bit, and then the moment the brake comes off, right back into the gas. But look at how gradual the roll on is, right? Very, very slow until we start coming off the corner, then we can get more aggressive, right? Tighter corner here, a little bit more aggressive roll on. Let the throttle breathe a little bit to turn the bike in the other direction, and then down the back straight. So that's another thing that is useful. In some corners, you can use the throttle to kind of load the front tire and get the bike to turn a little bit better. So without even using the brakes, you can roll off the throttle to put a little bit of load on the front of the bike to get the bike to come back in. You'll see that here in a double apex corner coming up.
where we turn it in, we start to roll on, and then we kind of level off a little bit right there to get the bike to come back towards this second apex, and then we can roll on again on the exit of the corner. So not only do you use the throttle to accelerate, but obviously you can use it to decelerate a little bit, load the front tire, and get the bike to kind of change its arc slightly just by letting the throttle breathe a little bit.
So let's kind of break it down now that we have a better idea about how we want to be using the throttle, the different stages of throttle application through the corner. So there's basically 3 stages that you go through in any corner out on the racetrack in terms of throttle application. First stage is the throttle's closed, right? On corner entry, the throttle is shut, you're on the brakes going into the corner. The second stage is you're opening the throttle right away and you're starting to feed it slowly and gradually and trying to find that limit of traction as soon as you can, right? The third stage is what we call drive, right? So we're trying to drive the bike off the corner. In that stage, you're trying to get the bike up, stand the bike up more towards the center of the tire, take away lean angle, get the suspension working a little bit better, and actually drive the bike off the throttle. And when you drive it, you're trying to get the thing to full throttle as quickly and as aggressively as you can without the thing starting to slide too much, right? So middle of the corner, you're feeding it very slow. You're trying to keep it right on that edge of traction. Once you start to pick the bike up and you start that drive, that's when you can get really aggressive with the throttle. And you want to get so aggressive that the tire is not 100% hooked up. You want that thing to be spinning, not really spinning, but churning, like right on the edge of traction as you pick that bike up. You're trying to get that thing to actually slide just a little bit, right? About 10% slippage is what some of the tire manufacturers recommend, right? So 3 stages, you coming into the corner, you're off the throttle. Through the middle of the corner, you're feeding it slowly, trying to hold it right on the edge of traction while you have the bike leaned over. And then that last stage is when the bike starts to come up, you get real aggressive with the throttle and try and drive the bike off the corner as best you can.
So let's take a look at the 3 stages of throttle control. On the brakes, throttle's closed. Middle of the corner, very gradual roll on. On the exit, getting aggressive, trying to get the bike pinned. That's going to happen a lot quicker in this corner because it's a much tighter corner. So there's my mid corner and there's my drive, right? A longer corner, slower roll on, and now to the drive and trying to get it pinned as quickly as we can. So it's really obvious in the bowl here, throttle's closed, very slow and gradual roll on through the middle of the corner, and then once the bike comes up, trying to get the thing to full throttle as quickly as we can. So the idea is while you're at max lean angle through the middle of the corner, you're very gradual with your throttle application. If you're too aggressive, the bike's going to slide, and the slide is going to be much more abrupt and much more drastic. However, once you start to come off the corner and you start to take away lean angle, you can get much more aggressive with throttle and actually try to drive the bike off the corner. So again, we'll see it through this corner here. Again, a very slow, gradual roll on while we're leaned over. And then once we start to pick the bike up, right there, very aggressive and trying to get the throttle pinned just as quickly as we can. Again, here we'll see, let the throttle breathe a little bit, start to turn back in, gradual roll on, and then once we start to get the bike to come upright, we're getting much more aggressive with the throttle on the exit of the corner. So that's the 3 stages of throttle control. Shut throttle going into the corner, gradual roll on through the middle of the corner, and then getting real aggressive and driving the bike with the throttle off of the corner.
All right, so I want to thank everybody for watching the channel. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you like the video, please throw up a like on YouTube. It helps me out. Better yet, if you'd like to see more of these videos, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'll try and publish them a little bit more frequently. I know I've kind of been a slacker lately. I put out a few videos on break-in and then I've kind of taken a little time off. But now that the race season's here, I'll be spending a lot more time at the racetrack, and hopefully we'll be able to pump out a few more videos for you, give you some more riding tips, give you some stuff to think about when you go out to do a track day or a race weekend. So again, thanks a lot for watching. I hope these tips help you, and if they do, throw up a like, subscribe to the channel. So thanks a lot for watching Stu Man Rides.